Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to speak in opposition to the rule for H.R. 2578, the Conservation and Economic Growth Act. But first, I want to thank the gentlewoman from New York for allowing me some time to speak on what I think are some of the good things in this package, but unfortunately, some of the elements of this package that I think is not the appropriate way that we ought to be debating the challenging issues of immigration reform in the House of Representatives. First, these bills should be taken on their individual merits, not as a package. If we consider them together, we should then have an open rule that would allow us to then debate the merits of each individual bill. Now, some of the bills contained in H.R. 2578 are helpful to my constituents, and I've supported them in the past. As an example, the measure offered by Mr. Denham allows the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to consider spillway improvements on the project by the Merced Irrigation District. This would allow us an expansion of the capacity of that reservoir. Some 1,800 feet of the Merced River would be impacted, but as a result of it, we would gain perhaps as much as 78,000 acre-feet of additional water supply, water that is much needed in the San Joaquin Valley. That is a good portion of this package. There is also other areas that I support. Language within the bill to provide certainty to the grazing community that I am an original co-sponsor for. Grazing lands, public lands, provides opportunities for America's beef industry that is very essential and very important. However, this bill also contains controversial provisions that would be damaging to my constituents. H.R. 1505 gives the Customs and Borders Protection Authority to waive numerous laws pertaining to federal land management. It's just not the protection of those lands, it's farmlands, it's coastal zone management, mining, public health, safety, and public. I ask the gentlewoman for another minute or 30 seconds.
Another minute to gentleman.
Gentleman's recognized for one additional minute.
I thank the gentlewoman. H.R. 1505, as I was indicating, would waive numerous laws that pertain to very important elements of not only the coastal zone, but mining, public health, safety, and public review within 100 miles of the U.S. border. I oppose this measure because it is too sweeping in its efforts. This bill also pretends to provide border security problems on land management laws. We have challenges with our border, no question about it. I've supported additional funding for the Border Control Agency. We must protect our borders. But to do so in a land management bill makes simply no sense. We should be taking up immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform, separately from land management bills. That is, I think, the method that we ought to apply. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentleman from Utah.
Once again, Madam Speaker, I do appreciate, if I could just take 1 second before I yield to the gentleman from Iowa, yield myself 2 minutes.
Gentleman.